Well, hi everyone. What's happening? Well, I've been working on this radio for the last couple of months off and on. It's a very nice Zenith 5S29, I believe. Cool little three-band radio. Anyway, so I wanted to do a short intro here that really is not about that particular subject of the model of the radio. The issue is that what I found was somebody had replaced the capacitors in the radio. They didn't quite get all the capacitors, but most of them. And they actually did a good job with it. But they didn't get the rest of the radio. The chassis was quite a mess, and none of the resistors were replaced, and most of them were bad. I mean bad, like several were actually open, and the others, most of the others were well beyond, say, the 20% tolerance that we would typically allow in something like that. So I had to replace a lot of those resistors. So anyway, what follows is a video on videos, I should say, where I'm down on the bench. So we'll go right to that now, and just wanted to touch base and say, yep, that's the story on these, and it's not these bench videos are not really about the radio itself. It's really more of some pointers to people who want to get into radios of this nature. So that is the story. Thanks for tuning in, and feel free to make any comments or ask any questions, etc., etc. So on to the bench videos.
Hi everyone, down here in the radio shop this morning. Well, what we have here is an old Zenith Tombstone receiver, 1935, 36, somewhere around there, and I'm about ready to get into it. Someone previously, maybe in the last 20 years or so, had got into the radio and had recapped the receiver and did a pretty good job with it. It's used modern metallized type, maybe polyester type capacitors, all these yellow ones you see in here, and that looks fine. But the issue is, whoever did it didn't finish it. The resistors, these were a lot of these resistors in here. See if I can point one out here. Hang on a minute. Let me get something I can point it out with. Sorry about that. Like you can see one right there. There's that's it's called a dog bone resistor. These were early production resistors. Anyway, most of the resistors in this chassis are bad. So when I say bad, I usually, if they're worse than 20%, it sort of varies. But if they're beyond 20% of the original value, then I usually replace them. But many of these were either open or as much as 100% off. So you can see here the schematic, the ones in the components that are marked in pink mean I'm replacing them. This includes some more capacitors. There's a few more capacitors that I need to replace, but so anyway, if you're going to replace these things, also the filter capacitors replaced too. And actually there were two in here, and replaced it with one, which is okay in this particular case. So if you're going to do it, you got to replace the resistors too, because the resistors are going to have in this case, it would have had a major effect on the receiver sensitivity, because they were in the along the IF strip and so forth. So So it's very important that you also deal with the resistors. So now, if you prefer to keep these dog bone type resistors in there for whatever reason you feel they should be in there, you're keeping original and so forth, you can parallel a modern carbon composition resistor across it, or even a somewhat newer carbon resistor than what was originally in there. So, and then the other thing too is we need to make the radio a little bit safer, and so you should be putting in a grounded plug in it too, like this one here. This is a new plug, but it's kind of got some, it kind of looks old. It's a molded plug, but it works very well, and so I'll put that in there, and also I'll put in a new power cable. This is a cloth covered three wire cable. And then the other thing to do too is, if you look at the schematic here, move this over, is you need to add a fuse. It's very important. If something happens schematic wise, if something happens, you get a short somewhere within the receiver. It could be within the filament area or anything like that. You don't want the transformer being taken out. So, and it's just a good safety measure. So there you go. So that's just a quick one here. If you get into these things, make sure to get the resistors too. So you want the radio to work up to its original specifications. So that is the story from here. Okay, well, I think we're in good shape here. We've got all the resistors replaced or straightened out in the radio. I also have added a new fuse in here, so it's all properly fused now. Got a new power cord on it, down with the cool molded plug on the bottom there. You can see that all right. So everything's in pretty decent shape. I also over in here, this is the new Bluetooth connection. So pretty good shape, I think. We should be. I've got to do one repair in the lamp. One of the lamps has broken. So I have to fix the lamp. But otherwise than that, we're going to be ready to go. So gonna fix that lamp and then fire this up and see what we get. Okay, boys and girls, we've got this Tombstone radio all put back together here. It's in pretty good shape. Pretty happy how it all came out. It was a project. All in all, I've been working on it for about 2 months off and on, various
to take the family this April break.
Various times. So, but we got it over time there. So turn that back off. Turn it back down again. So anyway, pretty good shape. I made an antenna for it. That's just a little kind of my little patented. It's not really patented, but I call it that affectionately. Loop antenna. So it came out in pretty good shape. The chassis was in really rough condition, but it really got it well taken care of. All the electronics were taken care of. I also in the back corner. I know you can't see it very well. That the original capacitor was actually hot. The chassis was hot, so I put a plastic cover around it to protect it in case somebody sticks their fingers in there. So it wasn't at full high voltage, but it was enough to give you a pretty good jolt. So and why did I know that? That would be because I grabbed it one of those times and went, whoops, don't want to do that. So anyway, it all came out pretty good. I ended up replacing also some other components in there. The volume control had it, which I knew it did. It was open. And the radio, without a load in the detector, was particularly not very happy about it. But all in all, I'd say it came out pretty well. And will be a pretty good, should be a nice addition to for somebody, whoever ends up with the radio. The cabin, as you can see, was just in great shape. This is an untouched cabinet, other than cleaning and polishing. So original knobs were there. The original dial is there too, and all good there. I did have to replace the belt in it, which was a pain in the neck also to a degree, because it takes a flat belt and they're difficult to find for this thing. So that's the story, and should work pretty good for anybody that wants to use it. So later on. So that's the story from here.